Yo, what's good, your boy Ghost here, and today I'm using a comparison video between the M13 and the quote-unquote Nerfed Grau. Now, before we get into it, I want to say that, yes, it might seem a little early to be doing something like this, but to be honest, it wasn't that hard when I played a lot of the update yesterday. Like, I really went to sleep extremely late, and I got a bunch of, of these clips with the quote-unquote Nerfed Grau. And also, it's easy when the weapon itself wasn't really touched at all, and it pretty much felt the same. Now, also want to say that I made this video in the past, and coincidentally it is my second most viewed video on my channel. Now that's not the reason why I made this video. I wanted to make this video because the Grau did get nerfed, and I believe that the M13 is the closest weapon to the Grau that is actually not the Grau itself. So I wanted to compare it because it did technically get a nerf. And actually I'm gonna put up the changes that were made to the Grau on the screen right now. And here we have the nerfs for the Grau, and in my opinion, the only one that actually matters is the damage range reduction. The whole recoil thing, honestly, you can't really feel at all. Like, it's literally pretty much the same beamer that it was before the nerf. And especially when you put on the attachments, and even you put in the, what's it called? The VLK, which I did, which I don't really like using the VLK no Grau, but whatever, we'll talk about that later. But even when you put something on like that, it makes those quote-unquote nerfs completely, like, just gone. Like, it doesn't affect the weapon. The damage range, though, in my opinion, is what makes the Grau very overpowered, and it got quote unquote touched, but you could still feel it at really crazy distances. Honestly, I'm kind of disappointed because it really kind of feels like the same with a little bit more recoil, a little bit. And I'm talking like just a tad bit more recoil. And actually, I'm gonna put up the in-game statistics of a Grau compared to an M13. As you can see here, the M13 has more accuracy, fire rate, and control, and mobility, range, and damage go to the Grau. So, I mean, even with the damage range getting nerfed, and even with the quote-unquote range of the Grau getting nerfed, the M13 still doesn't have that range to the Grau. In terms of damage, by the bar right there, it says that the damage is slightly above for the Grau over the M13. And I mean, honestly, I was using the M13 yesterday, and it wasn't really feeling like a pea shooter. Like, it actually felt like a decent weapon, but it's still there. Like, the lingering lack of damage is still there for the M13. Like, don't get it twisted at all. And then we have the average accuracy. The accuracy, even before the Grau got nerfed, I still believe that the M13 was better at accuracy than the Grau. Yeah. So we're gonna hop into the recoil pattern for the M13 right now. And here we have the recoil pattern for a base M13, and ironically, for a very accurate weapon, the base weapon of the M13 has, a pretty decent amount of recoil, but then, you slap on the attachments and it becomes a straight beamer. Now, I recently put on the VLK sight on it. When I first started using the M13, I didn't really rock that VLK. Well, I didn't know about it back then, but here is my class setup right now. And I mean, I'm telling you right here, this really made the weapon a lot better for me to use. Like, I kind of liked it in the past. I still felt like it was a little underpowered, but when I was using it yesterday, this thing was straight up even, bro. And in close range engagements like right here, I was able to put in some work. Now, like I said earlier in the video, one of the problems with the M13 in my opinion was the lack of damage. And yesterday I kind of didn't really feel it, but there's some instances where it did feel like it was shooting, marshmallows. And honestly, when I heard the Grau was gonna get nerfed, I thought it was gonna become like a worse M13, and so I figured that this comparison was gonna be a lot more viable when the nerf came out. Turns out I was completely wrong about that. But that's not to say that the M13 is not a bad weapon. Like, I mean, yes, now the M13, or not the M13, the Grau technically got a little nerf in terms of the range. So I think that the M13 could be a better option at range because it is now 100% more accurate. And damage-wise, it might not, have it over the Grau, but if you're hitting more shots with the M13, you're most likely hitting it. And then also, a comment told me, or from a comment that I read, I might be wrong on this because I don't know about this 100%. A comment told me that the M13 has the highest headshot multiplier, some shit like that. I'm not something about headshot. I think headshot damage of the ARs. I'm not 100% sure about that. And again, what I just said, I don't even know if that was what he told me anyway. But something about headshots that the M13 has is the best in the category. I'm not 100% on that, so I apologize. So also feel free to correct me if I'm wrong though, because again, I'm probably wrong on that. But yeah, the M13 has, I don't know, like I think it has more mobility. Again, the in-game bars kind of say it doesn't, but I feel like it's a faster weapon. I'm pretty sure it has a faster aim down speed than the Grau. I mean, with the base M13, it's a very quick ADS speed. That's one of the things that really stood out to me when I first used it in the game, is how fast it could ADS. And like no matter what you put on it, you know what I'm saying, like it doesn't really negate it. So I'm curious, and I'm pretty sure if you run tac laser on it, it'd make it even faster. But I don't really run tac laser. You probably really don't need it. You don't even need to be okay. But you know, here we are. But yeah, I think it has that aspect of the Grau. Like I think pretty much it has a lot of things over it except for the damage, which is kind of crazy in hindsight, and yet it's still a very underused weapon. But now we're gonna hop into the Recoil Pattern for the Grau. And here we have the Recoil Pattern for a base Grau. Now, it looks a lot better than the base M13. And, you know, it's kind of ironic, too, because, again, the statistics in games say that the M13 has better, pretty much, accuracy and all that than the Grau. Now, I expressed this a lot throughout the video, and the fact that the Grau just didn't feel like it got nerfed. You know what I'm saying? Here's my class setup without the VOK for the Grau. This is what I run. This is what I'm going to keep running. And here's my VOK class setup. Now, honestly, I personally stopped using the Grau. I only picked it up like recently, or I guess yesterday, because well, I needed to make, you know, I needed to get clips with the quote-unquote Nerf Grau. So, you know, I picked it up in my first time in like 2 weeks. I'm probably gonna put it away again. I don't really want to rock this weapon. It's really boring to me. It's too easy to use it. I don't even want to be like that guy. But right now, like the way I was using it, it didn't feel any different. Because the damage is still there, and the recoil is still, like, not bad. So the accuracy is still pretty good, and the damage didn't get changed at all. So it might take maybe 1 or 2 more bullets than, like, it usually took at, like, longer distances. But when it comes to medium and somewhat close range, the Grau is still the same, like, from before. Towards, like, the far range, it's not bad. You could still melt people. And then, like, the extreme ranges, where the Grau excelled at, it might take 1 or 2 more bullets, and that's really nothing when you're hitting all your shots. You probably won't even notice it, to be honest with you. And again, I'm really disappointed at this quote-unquote nerf, because it didn't do anything. It didn't change the meta. It's gonna probably be the same Grau MP5, because I don't know if you guys heard, MP5 got a nerf as well, mostly to the 10mm, but there was a nerf also to the actual like base MP5. And I mean, I'll get a video on that next week, but we'll talk about that some other time. That's an MP5 video. But this Grau, man, like, I was very disappointed. And another thing that really hurt to see was the fact that no other AR got any type of buff. The M13 could have received a damage buff. The AK could have received a recoil reduction. What else? The Falcon could have received maybe a damage buff. The Odin could have received like a recoil reduction. The M4 maybe, even though it's a pretty good weapon, could have received a slight recoil reduction. And actually the M4 technically got nerfed if you use no stock, which I run no stock. I haven't ran no stock yet, but you know, there's a lot of things that got hit, and I don't know if the no stock nerf was anything like the ground nerf, then I'm not really worried, because it didn't get touched at all. And I hate saying this, man. Like, I truly am disappointed that the meta has not changed. You know what I'm saying? I still think the M13 is a very good alternative to Grau if you don't want to use a Grau. It's basically the same thing in terms of, like, accuracy. Damage-wise, it feels a little bit weaker, or it does feel weaker, but I think you can get over it. Because, again, this point has been brought up to me a lot. The fact that, if you just hit all your shots, it'll probably make up for the fact that the damage isn't there. And I kind of agree with that a little bit. I can't lie. I agree with that in some aspects. So, like, I'm telling you, if you want to use M13, I actually would recommend it. Like, I said this before in my previous M13 videos that I've made in the past, that this weapon definitely isn't a sleeper. Although, I still think I'm a little critical of the damage. I've always been critical of the damage, but it's still a good weapon, especially if you can hit your shots. I think that it's a kind of like a a friendly weapon because again, you don't have to do much to control the gun. It's very controllable, and I just think that a lot of people find success with it. But yeah, anyways, let me know what you guys think about the quote-unquote ground nerf, and also let me know if you use M13 and if you prefer it over the Grau and why. But yeah, anyways, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later. Peace.